What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and this is going to be my in-depth analysis and review of Gonzalez, our latest Grand Hero Battle unit, and I'll be going over the best builds that you can run on him for different game modes, and at the end I'll actually have a special bonus segment which a lot of you really like. So Gonzalez is an Axe Infantry unit with 181 BST and he comes with Rein Axe Plus as his inheritable weapon. Now this is a new type of inheritable weapon, but we have definitely seen the family of these weapons in Rein Bow that we had on Louise, so we can probably get these weapons on more units. So this weapon has got a similar Rein effect like the Rein skills on flyer units, and this is pretty much speed defense Rein, so he can inflict -5 speed and defense debuff on foes within 2 spaces of him during the combat. So not only this kind of debuff can be useful to the unit, but can also be useful to the allies of that unit who are going to be within that vicinity, and they can make use of these debuffs themselves. Gonzalez can definitely take advantage of this kind of weapon because of his speed stat. So he has got base 35 speed, which is not the highest, but it's still workable and can be salvaged at max investment. And then he also has base 42 attack with a super boon. He also has a very high HP at base 50, and he actually has the highest HP out of any kind of Axe Infantry unit. That definitely helps him with his bulk, even though he might not have the highest defense or resistance visibly. His stat spread is quite reminiscent of Basilio, which we recently got. Basilio is another Gen 6 Axe Infantry unit who can score the same as Gonzalez, and he actually has attack super boon as well. So Gonzalez just ends up having a bit better speed than Basilio at the cost of having less defense. The main advantage of Basilio is that he doesn't really take any kind of grails and doesn't require trade fruits because he can just get the IVs from summons and he can still use them in arena as a score stick, whereas Gonzalez does require your grails and also needs trade fruits to reach 185 BST. So depending on which kind of character you like more or the resources that you have, you can choose to invest into either of these because they are pretty similar in their role, but Gonzalez is readily available in the Grail shop. You could also compare him to a previous gen Axe Infantry unit who doesn't score as much as Gonzalez, but can get extra dragon flowers and does have more resistance. So Gonzalez can pretty much have the same kind of attack stat as Kalik, have pretty similar defense and HP, but he's going to be trading that resistance for that speed. So he cannot really take that many magical hits, but that speed stat definitely opens up to a lot more builds than what Kalik can do, for example, with the speed stacking build. So these were just some of the examples, but Axe Infantry units is definitely a pretty large pool, even in the free-to-play and 3-star, 4-star summon section, and Gonzalez is pretty much another option that you can build up, who has got Gen 6 BST and can also score as 185 BST in arena. So his main purpose is going to be for arena scoring by choosing to go with attack super boon or HP super boon that can put him at 185 BST. So there are definitely other options, but Gonzalez is pretty much going to be providing you with really high attack and also speed that is salvageable. As for his fodder, he has got attack speed push 3 at 5-star, and he's actually the first male unit in the entire game to have attack speed push on his base kit. And this could be useful if you're trying to inherit the tier 4 version of this push skill along with other premium skill like maybe loud speed defense from something like a Divine Code section Bernadetta. So that fodder option is always available if you don't want a fodder of Petrine, so Gonzalez can be an alternate option. And he also has threatened attack speed too, which can also be useful for inheriting stuff like attack speed menace with another premium skill. So that's also an option that you can use for inheriting better and higher level skills. Overall, Gonzalez's main fodder is going to be Rein Axe, which is going to be unique to him, and this is certainly a pretty nice weapon, even though we have got a lot of really good axes like Unbound Axe, Springy Axe, Plagian Axe. Rein Axe's main selling point is the fact that it can actually help your allies as well, so you can actually double down on this effect by running a Rein skill on a flying unit. Camilla, for example, has got pretty outdated stat spread because of being a Gen 1 unit, so she can run this axe and get better speed and also support her allies by running attack speed Rein in her slot C. And the other axe units who want to be fast and do have speed super boon like Kalik, for example, can definitely try and make use of this axe to speed stack and focus on their speed based build. And if you're running some kind of damage reduction skill in slot B on an older axe unit, then they also appreciate the attack debuff from this kind of weapon. Overall, Gonzalez is a pretty good free-to-play unit with high attack stat and workable speed stat that can definitely be utilized at max investment as you'll see in a moment. He can also score 185 BST as a free-to-play Grail option, which is really useful for arena scoring, and he can choose to go with attack or HP Super Boon if he wants to do that. So that is going to be the main selling point of Gonzalez as a arena score stick, which can definitely be helpful to free-to-play players who are trying to upgrade their arena scoring options. And there are definitely a couple of reasons why you may not want to invest into him. The first one is that there are a lot other options that you can invest into for an Axe Infantry unit, like Ninja Shamir for example, who does not really have similar stat spread to him, but still can function in arena. And there are also options like Basilio and Balthus from the normal summoning pool, which do not require any kind of grails. So if you're lucky enough to get enough copies of them, you can save your grails and invest into them and still get the 185 BST arena score stick. The second and a pretty big reason for a lot of people to not invest is that he doesn't have a preferred weapon. We recently got Yanfei and Kiza, who are also really good options for arena scoring, and they do have preferred weapons, so they can stand out a bit and be a bit more unique. Whereas, like I said with Gonzalez, you can definitely replace him with a similar unit like Basilio maybe, who can score similarly. And there's also a chance that he might get outclassed in future by a higher scoring unit who has got more stats, maybe a year or two down the line, or a unit who has got same stats as him but has got a preferred weapon. That has definitely happened before, like Ninja Hana compared to Ninja Shamir, and then so many other Axe Infantry units challenging Echidna. So it does happen from time to time if you do not have a preferred weapon, but because he's a Grand Hero Battle unit, he's going to be cheaper to build as we get more Grand Hero Battle reruns from Grand Hero Party and stuff like that. And he's also going to be getting a weapon refine whenever, his turn comes in the Grand Hero Battle rotation. So that could happen, but the wait is going to be pretty long in my opinion. So those are the main points for or against this investment, and he can overall do a decent job because of his stat spread and the fact that we have a lot of options in inheritable axes. So let us begin with his builds, and if you're just going to be building up on a budget, then you can simply give him Speed Defense Link and Reposition from Norn. This can certainly help him improve his speed at this unmerged level, and also help you provide some support in the form of the Link skill, as well as the Panic Ploy which he can run because of his high HP. So that is a decent use of him at budget, but many people are going to be investing heavily into him as he's a Grail option. So this kind of solo build can be run so that he can stack up a lot of speed, and this particular build can reach 64 speed. So a double solo skill is definitely obtainable with Divine Code section and stuff like that. So this could be done if you want to speed stack on him. And you can also run him with a more expensive build with attack speed ideal and also close call. And this is going to be again stacking up a lot of speed, but here instead of running null follow up, we're running close call. So getting the full damage reduction out of this close call is going to be harder against many of the really fast opponents. So that's why stacking up speed with attack speed ideal, which can give you +9 speed, and then having attack speed menace, which can create that 12-point stat differential, can definitely help you with that. And both of these builds have got their own strength, like the damage reduction build can help you universally against a lot of the foes, whereas the null follow-up build does better against the units who have got auto follow-ups and stuff like that. You can also run him with Ninja Massacre at max investment, and this version of the ninja weapon is a bit better because unlike the Shuriken Cleaver, he doesn't really want the true damage. Instead, he wants extra speed, because while his speed is salvageable, it's not the highest, so you definitely want to stack it up as much as you can so that you can stay relevant with his speed stat, and for that Ninja Massacre is a much better option. And you can basically run Surge Sparrow and Attack Speed Menace to boost that speed further, and this is just a player phase build for quad attacking. His attack stat is definitely really good, so he's not going to be doing very low damage with this kind of ninja weapon, and Luna can be helpful as a special. Null follow-up does allow you to pierce through the follow-up negation units to make sure that you can quad attack them and hopefully trigger your special and heal him up. You can also use him with Pelagian Axe if you want to have a bit better bulk on him. He does have high HP stat which can add to his bulk, but with the attack debuffs he can definitely have a much better magical bulk, so he could run a distant counter build, and lull attack speed is going to be helping you with the in-combat debuffs, just stacking up with the Pelagian debuffs. You can definitely run a cheaper skill in Slotsy like Attack Smoke, but Attack Speed Menace can also work if you have that, because it does increase the speed stat. Unfortunately, Pelagian Axe doesn't really double down on the speed debuffs, and it only doubles down on the attack and defense debuffs, so that's why you still have to stack up on his speed if you want him to naturally double against many of the opponents. And because of his high HP, he's definitely going to be a top tier option in Pawns of Loki for scoring, because he can reach a lot of HP with that HP Super Boon, and he can certainly help a lot of your friends with this kind of supportive build, where he can run Love Candelabra and Sudden Panic to support his teammates. And now let's talk about his main game mode, which is going to be Arena, where he's going to be used a lot as a 185 BST scoring unit. So unfortunately, like a lot of the axe units, he doesn't have a speed super boon, so he has to pick HP super boon or attack super boon in order to reach 185 BST. And the main thing that you can take away from this section is that because of his high attack stat, when you're going to be inevitably going with the attack super boon, you can try and focus with one-shot builds by running Ruptured Sky and a Breath Sacred Seal. And because of his very high damage output, he can many times just one-shot a lot of the common units. So that is what I'm going to be running on these builds. So the first build is for you if you don't really want to stack up too much speed on him and you mainly want to focus on his bulk and his attack. Then you can just go with the attack super boon for the scoring and run Unbound Axe, which does have low attack defense built into it with a solo condition. And this is really invaluable for Arena where people are going to be running the visible buffs, and you can simply run Quick Riposte and Distant Counter build. Now, even though he doesn't have the highest resistance, consider that he does have high HP, and a lot of times there are going to be physical units like Ledgering Crom, Ledgering Leaf for example, that he can bait out with Distant Counter and kill them because he's got higher physical bulk. And his HP does help him with that. And if you want to stack up a lot of speed on him, and if you don't really think he can take on a lot of the units at range, then Steady Posture is a nice option for slot A that can provide you with speed and defense and also the guard effect, which you can certainly appreciate as a tank. And again, Darting Breath is going to be run here with Ruptured Sky so that he can not only get extra speed but can get that one shot hopefully with his Ruptured Sky and his high attack. And then finally, if you want to have best of the both worlds, you want to speed stack and also run a build that can bait out units at range, then Distant Pressure is going to be an option. The chip damage is going to be annoying, but he pretty much needs that extra speed if you want to run this kind of full speed stacking build with Speed Ascended Asset by using a Floret. So you can just stack up a lot of speed and also bait out units at range by using Distant Pressure. The second build is mainly going to be used for the melee matchups, and that's why Rein Axe can be really helpful. And that's why I do like Joint Drive Speed and the Rally Attack Speed Plus on him, because he can just support the ally so much by improving their speed stat with his debuffs and also his buffs with his Rally and Slotsy skill. So these are the arena builds that you can run on him depending on the route you want to take with building up Gonzalez. And in Aether Raid's offense, he's definitely a lot less unique. Like a Valentine Gustav or Valentine Lucina is pretty much going to be a better axe tank because they have a save skill. Whereas Gonzalez can be run with the far save unit if you really want to use him up. So you can either focus on his attack and defense, or he can stack up his speed. Stacking up his speed can definitely open up some better matchups where he can prevent doubles from a lot of the really fast opponents like Brave Alm or Brave Erica for example. So that is something that he can do. But again, you know, Valentine Lucina can pretty much do the same thing. But in Aether Raid's offense, if you're going to be using him, make sure to run Steadfast Axe or a Unity skill, because you will have to eat up the Menace skill from Note if you're going to be putting him on the front line. A place where he's a lot more unique in Aether Raid's offense is certainly in Gale Forcing. The main reason being is that he has got really high HP, and that could be used to infantry pulse down an ally who also has really high HP. So that's something that he can do, and he could be run with a Gale Force team as a Wings of Mercy Gale Force unit by running Slaying Axe, which can give him a 4-turn Gale Force. And if you're running Thor, then it just makes it so that you don't really have to run Flashing Blade to get the special charges, because Thor does have World Breaker, which is extremely helpful. So you could run this kind of build to fully stack up on his speed with his slot A skill as well as the Sacred Seal. Again, he doesn't really do anything too mind-blowingly unique here, but still he can be used if you really want to use him on a Gale Force team. Now, as much as I like Rein Axe as a really nice inheritable option, I cannot help but feel that Gonzalez would have been a lot better and would have stood out much better if he did have a preferred weapon. So I would say that if he got a preferred weapon, I would have liked him to get Poison Axe, because this kind of weapon is mainly used by bandits, and Gonzalez is the only bandit that he can recruit in the GBA games. So I think that it would have been a fitting weapon of choice for him. He will still have a Rein Axe effect, but this is now upgraded, so he can also debuff the enemy's attack by -5 and also within 3 spaces of him, so that is just much better. And then just to depict the poison aspect of this axe, after combat if he attacked, he can inflict the Deep Wounds effect and 10 damage to target and foes within 3 spaces of him. So this could have been really helpful in just setting him apart from a lot of the other units, because he has got Deep Wounds as a free-to-play unit, and even if he dies, he's still going to be inflicting the Deep Wounds effect on the foes. So something like this could have made him a bit more unique. So let me know what you think about my theory craft in the comment section down below if you like it or not. And I hope you all enjoyed this unit review. If you did, then make sure to share this video with your friends if they're thinking of building up Gonzalez or any kind of 185 BST arena unit. And if you enjoyed, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH analysis videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I wish YouTube sub boxes would show my videos as many times as the amount of non-preferred weapon, axe, infantry units that we have in the free-to-play pool. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.